The warning lights painted Captain Dio, Kim and LT Unk and GT's face red as alarms screamed. Through the bridge of the Morning Star, his hands moved across the control panel. With practice speed, but the numbers told a terrible story. The engines were dying and 3,000 colonists depended on him to save them. Engineering report, Dejo said into his commune, keeping his voice steady even as the ship shuddered. Around him, Captain. We hit something in that debris field. The main engine core is cracked. I can give you life support and basic systems, but we're not going anywhere. Hannah Park's voice crackled through the speaker. She was the best engineer Dejo had ever worked with, and if she said the engines were gone, they were gone. Young sick. Choi looked up from his station, his young face pale. Sir, should I send the distress signal? Dejo nodded. They were 6 days from the nearest colony and 2 weeks from Earth. Without engines, they would drift in space until their supplies ran out. Send it. Make it clear we're a civilian transport with colonists aboard. The distress signal went out into the black void of space, carrying coordinates and a simple message: help needed. They watched the scanner, hoping to see a friendly ship appear. What came instead made his blood run cold. 12 ships dropped out of faster than light travel. Around them, they were massive warships, their hulls decorated with strain symbol. The lead ship was 3 times the size of the Morning Star. These were not rescuers. Incoming transmission, Young said, his fingers shaking as he worked the controls. The screen flickered to life, showing a face that was almost humanoid but wrong in subtle ways. The being's skin was pale blue. His eyes were too large and his mouth held too many teeth when he smiled. He wore a uniform covered in medals and insignia. Greetings, primitive vessel. I am Admiral Rickful of the Valkyrie, Empire's 3rd expansion fleet. You will power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in the termination of your crew and cargo. Dejo felt his stomach drop. He had heard stories about the Valkyrie. They were slavers, raiders who captured other species for their arena games and labor camps. We are a civilian transport under Earth's protection. We sent a distress call, not a surrender. Rickful's laugh was cold and mocking. Earth? Yes, we have heard of your kind. Deathworlders, they call you, born on a savage planet, trained in violence. His expression changed to something like hunger. Your warriors will fetch excellent prices in our arenas. Your workers will serve in our mines. Your scientists will advance our knowledge. You should be honored. You're making a mistake, Dejo said quietly. A very serious mistake. The only mistake here is yours, human. You wandered into our territory. You are weak and alone. We are many and strong. This is how the galaxy works. Rick's Val made a gesture, and the transmission ended. Dejo turned to Young. Sick, change the distress signal, make it priority Alpha. Young Sick's eyes went wide. Sir, that's only for military attacks on civilians. That code hasn't been used since the Frontier Wars. I know what it means. Do it. Dejo's voice was hard as steel. Priority Alpha was not a cry for help. It was a declaration. It told every human ship and station within range that civilians were under attack by hostile forces. It activated ancient protocols written in humanity's blood. Hana's voice came through the comm. Captain, I'm detecting boarding craft launching from their ships. I can try to reinforce the hull At the docking ports, maybe buy us some. Time, do what you can, Hana. How long? Maybe 10 minutes if I redirect all. Available power, 10 minutes, Dave. Looked at the tactical display. The Valkyrie ships surrounded them in a perfect formation. They were not worried about a fight. They were confident. Arrogant even. They thought this was easy prey. Young Sick did the priority. Alpha transmission get through? Yes. Sir, full broadcast on all emergency channels. Encrypted data burst with our exact situation and the Valkyrie fleet composition went out too. Good. Did Joe sat back in his chair and watched the enemy ships closing in. He thought about his wife back on Earth, about the colonists sleeping in their cryopods below, dreaming of their new home on New Busausen. He thought about what priority Alpha meant. The Valkyrie boarding craft attached to the hull with loud clanging sound. Joe could hear cutting tools beginning their work on the main airlock. Hana had bought them a few extra minutes, but not enough. Captain, what do we do? Young Sick asked, fear clear in his voice. We survive. Joe said, we stay alive, we protect the colonists as best we can, and we wait. Wait for what? Joe smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression for them to realize they made a terrible mistake. The airlock exploded inward. Valkyrie soldiers rushed onto the bridge carrying weapons that hummed with energy. They were tall and thin, moving with confidence. One of them fired a device that filled the air with blue light. Joe felt his muscles lock up, felt himself falling as the neural dampener shut down his nervous system. As darkness closed in around him, he heard Rickfall's voice. The Admiral had come aboard personally to inspect his prize. Look at them, so fragile, so weak. The mighty Deathworlders are nothing but another species to be harvested. Rickfall stood over Joe's paralyzed form. Your home world will never find you, human. You will be scattered across 1,000 worlds, lost in the Empire and LT Uncan GTS vastness. Joe could not move, could not speak, but his eyes were open. He looked up at the alien Admiral and managed the smallest smile. Rickfall did not understand that smile. He did not know what priority Alpha meant. He did not know that humanity had learned hard lessons about protecting their own. He did not know that the hunters had just become the hunted. The last thing Joe heard before unconsciousness took him was Young Sick's whisper, barely audible. The message got through. Captain, they're coming, and in the vast darkness of space, traveling faster than light itself, a fleet was indeed coming. Not to rescue, not to negotiate, but to teach the Valkyrie Empire why you never, ever attack a Deathworlders family. Deho woke to the sound of voices, speaking a language he did not understand. His body ached and his head pounded from the neural dampener. He opened his eye slowly and found himself in a cell with metal walls and a single force field. Across the entrance, 20 other humans were in the cell with him, all looking scared and confused. Captain Kim, you're awake. Hana sat against one wall, her engineering uniform torn and dirty. They separated us into groups. I think they're sorting us. Sorting us for what? Joe pushed himself to sitting position, fighting a wave of dizziness. I overheard some guards talking. They don't think we understand their language. But I've been picking up words. They're deciding who goes to the arenas, who goes to the mines, and who goes to their research labs. Before Deho could respond, the force field dropped. 6 Valkyrie guards entered, pointing their weapons at the humans, one of them wearing different colored armor, pointed at several of the younger and stronger-looking humans. You. And you come, one of the humans, a woman named Juan Lee, stepped forward. Ho knew her file. She had been a Marine before retiring to join the colony mission. She looked at the guard with eyes that showed no fear. Where are you taking us? The guard struck her across the face with his weapon. One barely moved from the blow, though blood ran from her split lip. The guard looked surprised that she was still standing. You do not ask questions, slave. You obey. The guard seemed unsettled by her lack of fear and lowered his weapon. Come. Now, Guy and 5 others were led away. The force field snapped back into place, and the remaining humans sat in heavy silence. They're making a mistake, Hana said quietly. They think we're weak because our ship was disabled. They have no idea what humans are actually capable of. Dejo nodded. He had seen the fear in that guard's eyes when Giwan did not cower. The Valkyrie were used to victims, not fighters. In another part of the massive Valkyrie flagship, a scientist named Keth examined the biological data from the captured humans. His research lab was filled with advanced equipment, and the readings on his screens made no sense. This cannot be correct, Kelnoth muttered, running the scans again. These readings indicate bone density 3 times standard muscle fiber composition designed for extreme stress, and a healing factor that rivals military-grade augmentation. His assistant looked over the data. Perhaps the equipment is malfunctioning. I calibrated it myself. These humans, their home world must be incredibly hostile. Kelnoth pulled up the environmental data that Valkyrie scouts had gathered on Earth. His eyes widened as he read, by the ancients, gravity 1.3 times standard, temperature swings of over 100 degrees in some regions. Atmospheric composition includes reactive oxygen, predator species, including pack hunters, ambush predators, and megapa, viral and bacterial load that would kill most species within hours. How did intelligence evolve in such conditions? Not just intelligence, they became the apex predator of their entire planet. Every other species on Earth either fears humans or was domesticated by them. Kelnoth felt a cold fear growing in his chest. We have not captured weak prey. We have captured something very dangerous. In the arena holding pens, Juan was learning the layout of the Valkyrie ship. The guards were lazy, confident that the force fields and locked doors would hold their prisoners. They did not understand human problem-solving ability. The control panel for the force field is outside, G1 whispered to the others in her cell, but there's a maintenance access port in the ceiling. If we can reach it, I can bypass the field. Even if we get out, there are hundreds of guards. Another prisoner said, I'm not saying we escape the ship. I'm saying we make ourselves too much trouble to be worth keeping. We resist, we sabotage, we make them regret taking us, and we stay alive until help arrives. You think help is coming? G1 smiled grimly. Captain Kim sent Priority Alpha. I saw it on the bridge display before they knocked us out. That means the entire human fleet knows we were attacked. Help isn't coming. Vengeance is coming. 2 days later, one of the Valkyrie guards made a fatal error. He entered a cell holding human children to deliver food. The children's parents, who had been separated into a nearby cell, heard Their child crying, 3 human adults, tore through the force field with their bare hands. The emergency alarms brought 20 guards running. What they found was 3 humans standing over an unconscious guard, protecting a group of children. The humans were burned from the force field and bleeding from multiple wounds, but they were still standing, still ready to fight. It took all 20 guards to subdue them. 5 guards were injured in the process. Valkyrie had never encountered prisoners who could force their way through active force fields through pure strength and determination. Admiral Rix Val heard about the incident and ordered Dage brought to his command chamber. The human captain was forced to kneel before the admiral's throne. Your people are causing problems, human. They resist their fate. They injure my guards. They damage my equipment. Rickful leaned forward. Tell them to behave or I will begin executing them one by one. Dage looked up at the admiral and his expression was calm. You can execute us all if you want. It won't change what's coming. Nothing is coming. Your primitive world has no idea where you are. This sector of space is deep in Valkyrie territory. You are lost. We're not lost. We send exact coordinates with our priority Alpha transmission. Terran Defense Navy knows exactly where we are. They know who took us in. They're coming. Rix Val laughed. Your world has what? 50 ships, 100. The Valkyrie Empire controls 847 systems. We have thousands of warships. If your people are foolish enough to attack us, we will destroy them and then take your Earth itself. You really don't understand what you've done, Dajo said quietly. Priority Alpha is not a distress call. It's a declaration of war. You attacked human civilians. That's a line you don't cross. I am tired of your empty threats. Rixful gestured to his guards. Take him back to the cells. Perhaps a few days without food will teach him respect. Rixful. As the guards drag Dejoho away, a junior officer rushed into the command chamber. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting multiple contacts at the edge of the system. How many, sir? The count keeps rising. Initial reading shows over 200 vessels. They're in military formation. Rix Val felt his confidence waver for the first time. 200 ships. What fleet is that large? The officer's voice shook as he read from his data pad. Admiral, they're broadcasting identification codes. It's the Terran Defense Navy 3rd Fleet. They're demanding we return all humans immediately or face immediate military action. The admiral's face went pale. 200 ships, not a rescue mission. An invasion force. He looked at the door where Dejo had been taken, and for the first time he understood. The humans had not sent a cry for help. They had sent coordinates for a target, and now the Deathworlders were here. The Valkyrie home system had never seen a fleet like this. 217 human warships hung in space like predators waiting to strike. At their center was the flagship Indomitable, and on its bridge sat Fleet Admiral Sunmi Kang, known throughout human space as the Iron Phoenix. She looked at the tactical display showing the Valkyrie defensive positions, orbital platforms, defense stations, and the remnants of the 3rd expansion fleet. They outnumbered her in fixed defenses, but she had fought worse odds. Open a channel to the Valkyrie flagship, Sunmi ordered. Her communications officer nodded, and moments later, Admiral Rickful and LT Unk and GT's face appeared on the screen. Return our people unharmed. Within 1 hour or we will take them. Back, Sun said, her voice cold and precise. Refuse and we will dismantle your entire fleet. Resist and we will teach you why Earth does not make threats, only promises. Our Xval tried to maintain his composure, but Sunmi could see the fear in his eyes. You dare threaten the Valkyrie Empire? We have defended this system for centuries. Our weapons will tear your ships apart. 1 hour, Sunmi repeated. After that we stop asking. The channel closed. Sunmi looked at her tactical officer. Status. Their orbital platforms are powering up. Weapons. Their fleet is moving into defensive formation. They're going to fight. Admiral. Sunmi nodded slowly. She had hoped they would be smart enough to surrender. She took no pleasure in what was about to happen, but she would not hesitate either. All ships battle stations, prepare to engage. Remember the rules of engagement. Precision strikes only. Minimize civilian casualties, but destroy every military target completely. The hour ticked away slowly. Our Xval did not respond to the ultimatum. When the clock reached 0, Sunmi gave the order, all ships weapons free. Show them what happens when you touch our people. The third fleet moved forward in perfect coordination. The Valkyrie opened fire first, their orbital platforms launching missiles and energy beams toward the human ships. It looked impressive, a wall of fire and death racing through space. The human point defense systems activated. Thousands of small automated guns tracked and destroyed incoming missiles with impossible accuracy. Energy shields absorbed and dispersed the beam weapons. Some shots got through, burning into human ship armor. But the ships kept coming. Return fire, Sunmi ordered. The human response was surgical. Each ship had been assigned specific targets before the battle began. Rail gun rounds moving at a fraction of light speed tore through Valkyrie shields. Like paper, missile swarms that could think and adapt hunted down defense platforms. Energy weapons designed for precision rather than raw power found weak points in enemy ships and exploited them ruthlessly. Within 15 minutes, the Valkyrie orbital defense grid was gone. Platforms that had defended their world for generations were now expanding. Clouds of debris. The Valkyrie fleet tried to rally, tried to counterattack, but they were fighting an enemy that had evolved in constant conflict. On one of the Valkyrie warships, a weapons officer watched in horror as a human destroyer performed a maneuver that should have killed everyone aboard. The ship spun, rotated, and accelerated at angles that would turn most species into paste from the G-forces. The human crew, protected by their Deathworld biology and advanced inertial dampeners, executed a flanking attack that destroyed 3 Valkyrie ships in seconds. How are they doing this? The officer whispered. No one can fly like that. His captain understood in that moment. Humans were not just technologically advanced, they were biologically built for war. Their bodies could handle stress that would kill others. Their minds could process combat information with terrifying speed. They were persistent predators that had learned to hunt among the stars. On the Valkyrie flagship, Rickville watched his fleet die. All ships full retreat, fall back to secondary positions. But there was no retreat. The human fleet had positioned ships to cut off escape routes. Every Valkyrie ship that tried to run found human destroyers waiting. It was not just a battle, it was a demonstration. The humans were teaching a lesson. Sunmi watched the tactical display and felt no satisfaction, only grim determination. Launch the marine assault teams, target the flagship and the processing stations. Priority 1, recover all human prisoners. Priority 2, secure the Valkyrie command staff for trial. Captain Hun Woo Nam led the 1st Marine Regiment drop teams. 200 Marines in powered armor launched from there. Assault ships toward the Valkyrie flagship. Anti-aircraft fire reached up for them, but marine drop pods were designed to survive atmospheric entry on hostile worlds. Valkyrie weapons barely scratched them. The pods smashed through the flagship's hull in 20 different locations. Marines poured out their armor, making them look like metallic giants. Each Marine carried weapons designed to punch through ship armor, and they moved through the Valkyrie corridors like a force of nature. Valkyrie security forces tried to stop them. It was like trying to stop a tsunami with a bucket. Human Marines were trained to fight in every environment, from zero gravity to toxic atmospheres. They had drilled for shipboarding actions thousands of times. The Valkyrie guards, who had only ever police scared prisoners, were overwhelmed in minutes. In the holding cells, G1 heard the sound of human weapons fire and smiled. That's our ride. Everyone get ready. The Valkyrie guards outside their cell looked nervous. One of them started to open the cell, probably planning to use the prisoner as hostages. Jai did not give him the chance. She grabbed the guard through the force field, ignoring the pain of the energy burning her hands, and slammed his head against the control panel. The force field dropped. Jiwon took the guard's weapon and stepped into the corridor. Other cells were opening as prisoners overpowered their captives. The humans that the Valkyrie had thought were subdued suddenly became extremely dangerous. Hyun Woo and his Marines reached the detention level to find human prisoners already fighting their way free. He saw a woman in torn civilian clothes holding a Valkyrie weapon covering a group of children. While they ran to safety, secure the area. Hun Woo ordered, get all humans to the extraction point. Sir, I'm Jiwon Lee, former Marine Corps. We have approximately 3,000 civilians scattered through this ship and 2 other stations. Good work, Lee. My teams are sweeping all locations. We and LT Unk and GT LL get everyone out. Hyun Woo accessed his tactical map. The Admiral is probably in the command center. That's my next stop. Ji-Yuan nodded. Permission to accompany you, sir. I have something I want to say to that Admiral. Hyun Woo looked at her determined expression and smiled. Permission granted. Let's go. They found Rickval in his command center, surrounded by his remaining officers. The Admiral tried to look defiant, but he was trembling. Human Marines had sealed all exits, and their weapons were pointed at every Valkyrie in the room. Admiral Rix V. Hyun Woo said, his voice amplified by his armor speakers, you are under arrest for crimes against humanity, including kidnapping, assault, and attempted enslavement. You will be taken to Earth to stand trial. You cannot do this. I am a military officer of the Valkyrie Empire. This is an act of war. Gi stepped forward and RX-Val recognized her. She was bruised and burned, but standing tall. You started the war when you attacked our ship. We're just finishing it. Rix-Val was dragged away by Marines. Throughout the system, human ships were extracting every captured Human from Valkyrie facilities, some. Prisoners had been hurt, some had been tortured, those guards who had harmed. Humans found that marine justice could be swift and final. Sunmi received reports of all humans recovered, 3,000. Civilians scared but alive. She opened a channel that broadcast to every Valkyrie ship and station in the system. This is Fleet Admiral Sunmi Kang of the Terran Defense Navy. You attacked our civilians, you tortured our people, you have learned the price of making deathers your enemy, but this is not over. The Valkyrie Empire attacked humanity. Now humanity responds. She looked at her tactical officer. Send the message to Earth. Tell them we recovered all prisoners and are proceeding with Phase 2. Phase 2, Admiral. Sunmi's expression was hard as iron. We make sure this never happens again. Terran Third Fleet did not leave Valkyrie space. Instead, they spread out across 6 systems, and what followed was not war, but surgical dismantling. Every military shipyard, every weapons factory, every orbital defense station was reduced to scrap. The humans demonstrated a precision that terrified observers from other species who watched through long-range sensors. On the Valkyrie home world, Emperor Thal watched from his palace as human ships systematically destroyed his empire's military infrastructure. His advisors were in chaos, some demanding they fight, others begging to surrender. The emperor said nothing. He was beginning to understand the magnitude of his empire's mistake. A human diplomatic shuttle requested permission to land. The emperor granted it because he had no other choice. His ships were gone, his defenses were shattered. The humans could destroy his world if they wanted, and he knew it. Ambassador Jin Soo Park walked into the imperial throne room with 4 marine guards. She was a small woman by human standards, but she carried herself with the confidence of someone backed by overwhelming military power. She looked up at the emperor on his throne and did not bow. Emperor Thalrix, I am Ambassador Jin Soo Park, representing Earth and all human colonies. I am here to deliver the terms of your surrender. Surrender. The emperor's voice shook with rage and fear. The Valkyrie Empire does not surrender to primitives. Your empire attacked a civilian transport carrying 3,000 colonists, including children. You kidnapped them, hurt them, and planned to sell them as slaves. You started this war. We are ending it. Jin Soo pulled out a data tablet and began reading. Earth's terms are as follows. The Valkyrie Empire will pay reparations equal to 1 million credits per human harmed. All military personnel involved in the attack will be turned over for trial. You will publicly acknowledge your crime and humanity's sovereignty. Is that all? The emperor's voice dripped with sarcasm. No, your military will be reduced to system defense only, with no ships capable of leaving Valkyrie space. This restriction will remain in effect for 50 standard years, monitored by Terran observers. Finally, you will construct monuments in each of your major systems. These monuments will commemorate your mistake with inscriptions in both languages. Here stands our reminder: never attack a Deathworlders family. The throne room erupted in angry voices. Clear's throat. Nobles and officers shouted about honor and pride. Emperor raised his hand for silence, and if we refuse these terms, Jin Soo met his eyes calmly. Then we continue Phase 3. We have identified another 20 military installations across your empire. We will destroy them all. After that, we will blockade your trade routes. Your economy will collapse within a year. Your people will starve, and when you finally beg for mercy, our terms will be much harsher. You would commit genocide. No, we would remove your ability to harm others. There is a difference. Jin Su and LT Unk and GT's voice softened slightly. Your people are not our enemy. Your military arrogance is accept these terms, and in 50 years, when you have proven you can coexist peacefully, the restrictions will be lifted. Refuse in your empire ends. Today, the emperor looked at his advisors and saw only defeat in their eyes. He thought about ordering his ground forces to attack the ambassador, but he knew that would only result in orbital bombardment. The humans had shown they could be precise when they wanted to be. They could also be devastatingly thorough. I accept your terms, the emperor said finally, the words bitter in his mouth. Wise decision. Jin Su pulled out a contract written in both languages. Sign here. Your first payment of reparations is due in 30 days. The war crimes trials will begin in 60 days on Earth, and construction of the first monument will begin immediately. While this was happening, something interesting was occurring in the Galactic Council chambers. Thousands of light years away, representatives from 200 species watched recordings of the human fleet actions. The debate was fierce. The humans have overreacted, insisted one delegate. They destroyed an entire fleet, over a few thousand captives. The Valkyrie attacked civilians, another responded. Under galactic law, the humans were within their rights to respond with military force. A third delegate from a species that had also been victimized by Valkyrie raids in the past spoke quietly. I say the humans showed remarkable restraint. They could have destroyed the Valkyrie home world. Instead, they dismantled only military targets. Civilian casualties were minimal. They want justice, not genocide. The council secretary called for a vote. The question before the council was humanity's military response to the Valkyrie attack, legally justified under established galactic statutes. The vote was overwhelming. 147 species voted yes, only 23 voted no, and most of those were Valkyrie allies. The council's official statement was diplomatic. The Terran response to unprovoked aggression against civilians is recognized as proportionate defensive action under Section 7 of the Galactic Protection Accords. In simpler words, the humans were completely justified, and the rest of the galaxy had no intention of picking a fight with others. Several species that had previously ignored humanity's requests for trade agreements suddenly sent urgent messages to Earth. They wanted alliances. They wanted defensive pacts. They wanted to make sure that if anyone ever attacked them, the humans might come to help instead of staying neutral. On the recovered transport ship, Morning Star now docked at a human repair station. Captain Deho Kim met with his crew. They had been medically checked, debriefed, and cleared to return to duty, but the mission to New Busalsen was delayed while the ship underwent repairs. Hana Park stood at one of the viewports watching a massive structure being built in orbit around the Valkyrie home world. Is that the monument? Yes, Dejo confirmed. 300 m tall, made of the wreckage from Valkyrie warships that attacked us. Inscription will be visible from space. Do you think it will work? Will they learn? I think the galaxy will learn. The Valkyrie might hate us forever, but they'll never attack humans again, and other species will see what happens when you hurt our people. End quote. That's 9. Young Sick joined them at the viewport. Captain, I've been monitoring galactic communications. Species we've never talked to before are reaching out. They want to know more about Earth. Some are scared of us, but others seem interested in being our friends. Fear and respect our close cousins in a dangerous galaxy. They said, I would prefer friendship, but I will settle for them leaving our colonists alone. Hana turned to face him. Do you regret it, sending the priority alpha signal? Thousands of Valkyrie soldiers died in the battle. Daejo-ho was quiet for a long moment, thinking about the question carefully. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that people died, but I do not regret protecting our colonists and making sure this never happens again. The Valkyrie chose to attack us. They chose to treat us as prey. We simply reminded them that humans are not prey, we are predators. When we need to be, the crew wants to know if we're still going to New Busan. Young Sick said, after everything that happened, some are scared to leave Earth's protection. Tell them we leave in 2 weeks. As soon as repairs are complete, we will build our colony. We will explore the stars. We will make new homes and new friends. Daejo smiled, and if anyone tries to stop us, they will learn the same lesson the Valkyrie learned. The monument was completed. A week later, its inscription was visible from orbit, written in letters 10 m tall. Ships from every species in the region came to see it. The message was simple but clear. Here stands our reminder. Never attack a Deathworlders family, for they do not forgive, do not forget, and do not stop until their own are safe. We learned this truth in fire and blood. Heed our warning, travelers. The humans of Earth protect their own. Below that, in smaller letters, was a list of names, 3,000 names. Every human who had been captured, every colonist who had been threatened. The monument was not just a warning, it was a memorial, a reminder that every life mattered to the humans. And across the galaxy, species that once saw humanity as newcomers began giving human ships a wide berth, not out of hatred but out of respect born from healthy fear. The Deathworlders had spoken, and the galaxy had listened. 3 months after the Valkyrie incident, Director Bo Roshan sat in her office deep beneath Terran intelligence headquarters and reviewed reports that made her deeply uneasy. The Valkyrie attack should not have been possible. The Morning Star's route was classified information. The timing of the engine failure was suspiciously convenient. Someone had helped the Valkyrie set their trap. She called in her best analyst, a young man named Tae Min, who had a gift for finding patterns in data. Tell me what you found. Tae Min spread holographic files across the desk. The Valkyrie received detailed intelligence about human ship routes, crew complements, and response times. They were specifically told that Earth would not respond to a priority alpha signal with sufficient force to threaten them. Someone wanted to test how humanity would react to a large-scale civilian kidnapping. Who group calling themselves the Harmonious Collective. They're a coalition of older species who view humanity's expansion as a threat. They've been around for thousands of years, maintaining what they call galactic stability. Tammin pulled up. More files. They arranged the Valkyrie. Attacked to see how we would respond. They got their answer, Bora said grimly. We sent an entire fleet and destroyed the Valkyrie military. Now what? Now they're terrified. According to intercepted communications, they're debating whether to approach Earth with a formal ultimatum or to back off and pretend it never happened. An ultimatum. They provoked us, and now they want to threaten us. Bora felt her anger rising. Get me everything on this collective. Every member species, every known agent, every communication, and schedule an emergency meeting with the diplomatic corps. We need to decide how to handle this before they make their next move. The emergency meeting happened 2 days later. Ambassador Jinsu Park, fresh from her success with the Valkyrie, listened to the intelligence briefing with growing concern. So this collective arranged for our civilians to be attacked as a test, and now they're considering demanding we limit our expansion or face a united galactic response. That is correct, Bora confirmed. They represent 37 species, many of them major powers. If they unite against us, we could face a real war. Can we win such a war? Maybe, but at what cost? Millions of human lives. Billions of alien lives. Bora shook her head. This is not a fight we want. Jinsu thought for a long moment, then smiled slowly. Then we do not fight, we talk, and we make sure every species in the galaxy hears what we have to say. 1 week later, Jinsu stood before the full Galactic Council. Every species had sent representatives. The chamber held over 200 delegates, and all eyes were on the small human woman at the central podium. Members of the Galactic Council, I come before you today to address concerns about Earth's recent military actions and our place in galactic society. Jinsu and LT Unc and GT's voice was calm and clear, amplified so everyone could hear. Some of you have called us aggressive. Some say we are dangerous. Some fear what humanity might become. So let me be very clear about who we are and what we want. She paused, looking around the chamber. Humans are from a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, predators, plagues, and our own worst impulses. We learned to cooperate because alone we died. We learned to innovate because stagnation meant extinction. We learned to protect our families because nothing else mattered more. When the Valkyrie attacked our civilians, we did not hesitate. We did not negotiate. We responded with overwhelming force, because that is what you do when someone hurts your family. Some of you think this makes us monsters. I say it makes us human. A delegate from the Harmonious Collective stood up. You prove our point, Ambassador. Your violent response to one incident shows that humanity is too dangerous to be allowed unrestricted expansion. The galaxy needs peace, not more warriors. Jinsu turned to face the delegate directly. You arranged that incident. You helped the Valkyrie attack our ship to test us. You wanted to see if we were as dangerous as you feared. Well, congratulations, you got your answer. But you made one critical mistake, and what is that? You thought our strength made us your enemy. You thought our protective instincts made us a threat to peace. You were wrong. Jinsu's voice grew stronger. Humanity does not seek conquest. We seek respect. We want to explore, to build, to learn, to grow. We want friends and allies, not subjects and slaves. But we will not be victims. We will not be prey. and we will never ever let anyone harm our people without consequences. She turned back to address the full council. I am here today with a message for every species in this chamber. Trade with us and you will find us fair and honest. Ally with us and you will find us loyal and supportive. Cooperate with us and you will find us innovative and helpful, but attack us, threaten us or harm our civilians and you will learn what 3,000 years of survival on a death world taught us. You threaten the entire council. Another delegate asked. No, I make a promise. Every human ship, every human colony, every human life is under Earth's protection. We are a species that does not just survive, we thrive, we adapt. We overcome, try to cage us, try to limit us, try to test us again, and you will not face one fleet, you will face all of humanity, and we are very, very good at war. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some species were outraged, others were thoughtful, but Jinsu noticed something important. The delegates who had experienced war, who had survived their own struggles, were nodding. Slowly they understood. Strength was not the same as aggression. The ability to fight was not the same as desire to fight. The vote came 3 hours later. The harmonious collective's proposal to limit human expansion failed spectacularly. 168 species voted against it. Only 19 voted for it. The rest abstained, not wanting to choose sides. Even more significantly, 43 species formally requested defensive alliances with Earth. They wanted to ensure that if they were ever attacked, the humans might come to their aid. Message was clear. Most of the galaxy did not fear humanity's strength. They respected it. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Sun Mi Kang stood in a military shipyard and watched the construction of a new class of warships. They were called Defender class, designed not for conquest but to ensure no human ever needed to send another priority alpha signal. The lead ship was being named Morning Star in honor of Captain DeJoe's vessel. A junior officer approached her. Admiral, the council vote results are in. We won. The restrictions were rejected. We did not win anything, Sun Mi said quietly. We simply made our position clear. Now we have to prove we meant what we said. We have to show the galaxy that strength and peace can coexist. Do you think they will test us? Again, some will. Pride and fear make people do foolish things. But the smart ones will learn from the Valkyries' mistake, and in time we will have more friends than enemies. The officer looked at the ships being built. Why name them defenders if we have to be ready for war? Because that is what we are. We defend, we protect, we do not conquer. Sun Mi smiled slightly. But any enemy who mistakes defense for weakness will learn a very painful lesson. On the colony ship Morning Star, now fully repaired and ready for departure, Captain De Ho Kim stood on the bridge and looked at the star charts. New Busausen waited for them, a world ready to be turned into a home. His crew was at their stations. The colonists were in their cryopods, and the universe was full of possibilities. Hana Park checked her engineering systems one last time. All systems green, Captain. We are ready to go. Then let us go. Daejo said. We have a colony to build. Young Sik initiated the faster-than-light drive, and the Morning Star jumped into the void between stars. As they traveled, Daejo thought about everything that had happened. They had been attacked, captured, and rescued. The Valkyrie Empire had been humbled, the galaxy had been warned, and humanity's place among the stars had been secured, not through conquest but through the simple declaration that humans protect their own. Captain Young 6 said, breaking the silence. I've been monitoring galactic news feeds. We are famous now. Some species call us the Death World Protectors, others call us the Vengeful Stars, but everyone knows our story. Good, Dajo said, let them know. Let every species understand that humans will travel to the furthest reaches of space. We will build colonies on hostile worlds. We will explore dangerous regions. We will push boundaries and break limits, but we will do it together as a family, and anyone who threatens that family will face all of us. The morning star continued its journey through the darkness between stars, carrying its precious cargo of dreamers and builders toward a new world. Behind them, Earth's fleets patrolled the trade routes. Around them, the galaxy watched with newfound respect, and ahead of them, the future waited with infinite possibilities. The Deathworlders had spoken, the galaxy had listened, and the message was clear. Humanity had come to the stars not as conquerors, not as victims, but as a family that would defend itself with everything it had. The universe was vast, dangerous, and full of unknowns. But humans had evolved on Earth, the ultimate death world. They knew how to survive, they knew how to thrive, and most importantly, they knew how to protect their own. Any species that forgot that lesson would learn it the hard way, just as the Valkyrie had. The monuments stood as reminders. The story spread as warnings, and humanity continued its journey among the stars with confidence born from the knowledge that they were never truly alone. They were human, clear as throat. They were family, and they were here to stay.